With snapping still on, let's activate the curve tool. And before we place any curves or splines here, let's take a look at our dimensions. So the actual bounding size of our object is 14 by 15 by 7 centimeters, which you can see on line 11 here. And the more important part to look at first is the container size. We're going to model with the splines first the base footprint of our object, which is 14 by 10 by 5, and then it has plus 2 centimeters in the center. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and do that. So 14 by 10 by 5, that means we need to go over 7 grid units here and 7 here as well. And since it's not on the ground plane at the moment, let's bring it on down there. Now we can hold shift, create a new curve, release curve to continue that, and we'll go out 5 grid units. The center comes out 2. Oh, sorry, that's the side. Hold shift again. Now come out 2, and then go over 7 more. So now we have that nice curve there. Shift one more time, release shift, and now we have the other side wall. You'll notice the Modo created these curves above the ground plane. So we'll just grab those and move them down with the move tool. It's the W key, and it should snap the grids, and snapping is still turned on, and move those on down. Now let's take a look at the individual curves here to make sure that each tail is pointing at the next curve's head, which they are. As you saw in the how to use the spline curves tool video, it's very important that they match up for this. Otherwise, we'll run into patching issues later. So now that we have the base footprint completed, let's do the back flap. And we'll need to look at the dimensions again. So this one is 14 by 3, and the thickness is 0.12, which we'll actually model later. So let's worry about the X and the Y here. So it's 14 by 3, and then it has plus 2 in the center. So let's activate the curve tool again. And this time we'll place it here, and we'll make sure that it's moved toward the back at that point respectively. So it comes up 3, and hold down shift, create a new curve, plus 2 in the center, and then, oops, I did the wrong thing, undo that. I held down shift as I was doing that. So up 2, over 7 more, now hold shift, and place in the last part of the curve. And I'm sure you noticed as I was doing this that the curves are all funky in the viewport here because Modo didn't create them where we actually wanted them. So let's select these in poly mode, all 3 of these, and we'll move these back. Looks like Modo is messing with me here. Alright, let's just deselect that one, the back already. Move those over. Now we can select all 3 of those. And let's use set position, which is under vertex. Set position. We'll center that on the Z, or set position at 0. And now they're all aligned perfectly here. Let's maximize that viewport with the 0 key, and let's turn off the grid and work plane. Shift A to bring it into view. By the way, that pie menu is control 1 on the keyboard. If we look at this piece right here where these 2 shapes converge, we've got two shapes here, this one that I'm now selecting and this one here. So what we need to do is check all of the heads, and this one points to the right, and that one points down, this one points up, and this one to the right. So we need to make sure that each of these is pointing at the next. This one we'll work off of, and that means this one's fine, this one's wrong, and that one is wrong. Sorry, no, that one's right. So we only have one wrong one. But if we remember that this one is also right, so what we need to do is copy each of these curves. Alright, we'll copy. Let's create a new mesh layer. We'll name this one back flap. Okay, and we'll paste those in. Let's go to the previous layer. Oh, in fact, let's just go back to this layer, and we'll copy this one, the one in the center, which is kind of hard to see with that other layer. So let's just hide everything in the item list. So that way, whatever we have selected is the only active or visible item. Right. Now we can actually, we already have it in that layer. So we'll just select those three, delete them. So this one is fine, points to that, and that points to that one, and so on. Now let's check the top. So this one points up to that one points over to the right to this one down, but this one's wrong. So what we need to do is flip it. Similar to flipping the normals on a polygon, we just flip the normal on a curve. So with the F key, it's now flipped and everything's correct. All right, let's do a little item cleanup here. Let's rename this one to top.